Okay. Today, title is Resilience of Faith. You know, the word resilience means when you see the spring, right? When you press down the spring and when the power released, then it goes back, right? So we need that kind of a concept of our faith too. So Lamentation 3:22 and 23, it says, "Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for His compassion never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness." The time of Jeremiah, when the prophet sees that the nation is getting destroyed, and he was really down at the moment. But one day he realized that, okay, there is a great faithfulness in our God's side and great love. So this is not it. This is not done yet. Always we can go back to God, and God is going to renew the whole Israel, and on a personal basis, He's going to restore our soul. Talking about the depression, there is a story of Elijah, chapter 19, 1 Kings chapter 19. The story of Elijah, it begins chapter 17. And you know, the showdown between the God's prophet and 850 Baal and Asherah, their false prophets, showdown. And he got victory because God was his side, and he can see everything. He witnesses the fire came down from heaven and consumed the altar. But when you turn to chapter 19, it's a totally different story. It shows. Can you imagine that? How can a prophet who defeated lots of false prophets one day, and all of a sudden after that incident, when he is now fleeing from someone? Let's begin with verse 1. Now Ahab told Jezebel everything Elijah had done and how he had killed all the prophets with a sword. Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah to say, "May the gods deal with me, be it ever so severely, if by this time tomorrow," by tomorrow, this time, "I do not make your life like that of one of them. So you'll be a dead meat by tomorrow now," like this. And Elijah, what a great prophet, how could he reacted? But interesting enough, verse 3, it says, Elijah was afraid and ran for his life. Where is the courage? Where is God in his life? When he came to Beersheba in Judah, he left his servant there and he moved on. And while he himself went a day's journey into the desert, he came to a broom tree, sat down under it, and prayed that he might die. "I have had enough, Lord," he said. "Take my life. I'm no better than my ancestors." So basically he's saying to God, "Lord, this is enough. So would you please take me home immediately?" He doesn't live any more like this. Sad story, huh? So this part, we can see he's under depression. Everything is just looks horrible, and I want to die. I don't want to live anymore like this. What is the God's remedy? He said, then he lay down under the tree and fell asleep, and all at once an angel touched him and said, "Get up and eat." So the best remedy for the depression might be take a full rest and just eat, get nourished, and time will be the real solution. You know, what is the problem of Elijah he encountered? Once he was a great prophet and defeated all the first prophets, and the showdown is over. He was a victorious man, huge figure. Now he's fleeing like a refuge. Once your focus is no more God, and we are in big trouble. Did you get that? Always we have to focus on God. Not focus on you, your sinful nature, but focus on the beauty of our God. That's the key. Same context in New Testament has it Matthew 14:29. That's the experience of Peter, the Apostle Peter. He was a great man of faith. When he focused on Jesus, he was okay. But immediately after, his focus turned to the wind. His life getting trouble. And he asked Jesus, "Can I walk on the water?" Jesus, "Hey, come here." Verse 29, chapter 14, verse 29, Matthew, Gospel of Matthew. "Come," he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat and walked on the water and came toward Jesus. But, listen carefully, but when he saw the wind, no more Jesus, he saw the wind, he was afraid and beginning to sink, cried out, "Lord, save me." He doesn't know how to walk on the water. Does anybody know how to walk on the water? Have you ever tried?
Not easy.
Not easy, huh? I'll give you some tips. Okay? Just follow me. Follow my instruction. Step on the surface of water on your left foot first. Okay? Before the left foot sink down, put under your right foot on the surface. Then you're not going to sink, in theory, but it's humanly impossible. So the point is how we can regain our faith. It's okay, from time to time we can fall down. From time to time we missed our focus and there's no more Jesus in our lives. But immediately after you found that you are in the wrong track, and go back to Jesus, right? Everything is new, and we are not expert. When you're a baby, it's the first time in your life, right? You've never been in the baby situation when you are born, so you have no experience at all. As parent, when a mother gave birth to a baby and first time, and basically she doesn't know how to raise this kid, and hard time to feed the baby, breastfeed. As baby grows, everything is new. They have to go through how to make friends, right? How to go to school and how to study. And everything is new. In a sense, our faith is new because before we didn't know who Jesus was and how we should believe in Him. This is first time, right? In a sense. The most important thing that in our childhood is that the bond between our parents and ourselves, the baby and the parents. She is an expert psychiatrist in Korea, and she wrote a very good article in a newspaper, and I just translated for you. And basically, this is what she says. Stress from outside seemed to be unavoidable. However, we may decide how we would react. In order to resist, overcome, stimulus from outside. We need inner power. It comes from the bond between parents and children. Inner power enables to overcome problems regardless of the size. Parents can't be involved in every problems that children may encounter, but they need to wait until the children could solve them by themselves. Many parents raise their kids by result-centered education. We need the final product. Hey, you should do good and A in your school. Everything, the final product we're asking. But process-centered education is more important. Children should be continuously reminded that it's okay. The important thing is you did your best. Even you tried hard to your work, your best. Sometimes it turned out to be not the best, but that's okay. Under this promising education, kids can be more proud of themselves in a good way. So the best gift from parents to children is that encouragement, encourage, and hugging. I love you, love you, encourage, okay, you are okay, you are okay. That's the best medicine, the best remedy to overcome. That exactly happens in the life of Joseph. When he was sold to Egypt, and think about it, that beautiful child, and he was favored by his own dad, and all other stepbrothers, they got jealous and sold to Egypt. How could he overcome that kind of a harsh moment, hardships? What is the momentum, what is the secret weapon that he has? Guess what? He has a strong bond with his father. His mother is dead, but his father. That comes from Patriarchs and Prophets, page 213 and paragraph 3. I'm just reading. Then he thought, when Joseph was being sent to the land of Egypt, and he saw many familiar surroundings. Okay, that's the hill I was played. There's my house and the tree. Everything familiar, and they are in behind. Then his thought turned to his father's God, Jacob's God. In childhood, he had been taught to love and fear him. Often in his father's tent, he had listened to the story of the vision that Jacob saw as he fled from his home, an exile and the fugitive. Is that interesting? The father Jacob, he was in the exile and fled his home. But now, this is a Joseph time. He's going to be in exile and left his home. He has been told of the Lord's promises to Jacob and how he had been fulfilled. How? In the hour of need, the angels of God had come to instruct, comfort, and protect him. And he had learned of the love of God in providing for man a redeemer. Now, all these precious lessons came vividly before him. Joseph believed that the God of his fathers would be his God. He then and there gave himself fully to the Lord, and he prayed that the keeper of Israel would be with him in the land of his exile. So, according to this text, we are very sure that he regained the energy to overcome the difficulties between Jacob, his father, and himself. And Jacob continuously taught him in that way and told the stories and how he has been and how the great God was. That's one of the momentums that he can overcome the difficult times. So his focus now, not the captures, but to the Lord. Okay, this is my God. And He's all powerful. He's going to bring back home again, like this. So that kind of a resilience of our faith, we need that. I'm going to show you a picture. And guess who this is? Are you familiar with this man? Yeah? Yes? No? Hint. He's a famous politician. Nope. Can you get this picture then? Mike Pompeo, right? The same person. For 6 months, he lost almost 90 pounds. Can you believe that? One morning in June last year, he was on the scale and it says 300 pounds, the record in his life. So he told his wife, today is the day, okay? No more. This is enough, kind of. So he declared that I'm going to lose my weight, and for 6 months, 90 pounds. You know, I know how hard that is because I tried before. He was almost my height, 6 foot. And he weighed 300 pounds and 200 something before. I'm only less than 180. Now about 175. So it's a big challenge for him because if I decided to lose my weight by 10 pounds, and it'll take 1,000,000 years. But if I get 10 pounds, and next day I can accomplish that. After eating and sleep and do nothing, right? Very, very hard. He said how he could lose his weight is because of family. Family they love. This is a family picture. On your left, wife Susan, and their son Nick, and future fiance, future daughter-in-law Rachel, and Mike himself. When he was encouraged by the whole family, he could make it without any professional expert, without dietitian, or the professional who teach them how to work out and so on. By himself, he could make it. So now, very happy, right? So somebody says that, okay, are you planning to? He is one of the great contenders of presidential election, maybe in 2024. So some says that, okay, are you preparing for running the presidential elections? We say, oh no. But when I read the text, the article or the picture, then wow, if Micah can do, and we can do in our faith, we can go back to our original faith. Do you remember your first love with Christ? We can restore the first love. How we can do that? I'll give you 3 Bible texts. One is that believing His promises, our God's promises. Joel 2:25. I will repay you for the years the locusts have eaten, the great locust and the young locust, the other locusts and the locust swarm, my great army that I sent among you. God promised that, okay, I'll repay you. Our God's promising God. Second Bible text is God's invitation. Respond His invitation. In Matthew 11:28, it says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." This is God's invitation. I will give you rest. And how would you respond? This is the freedom of choice, your choice. When something happens to your life, and either you can blame your God and, I'm sorry, but criticize your God and all kinds of harsh words toward God, or still you can pour your hearts to God. Lord, at this time I don't know, but this is not in coincidence, but I believe your providence. There are some reasons why this happened to me. Please, Lord, be with me and go through these difficult times with me. My third Bible text, very famous one, Psalm 23 and verse 3. He refreshes my soul. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right path for His name's sake. So trust in God. Sit on His promises and trust in Him and respond His invitation. You know, the word refreshes, this word is not going to be not very powerful compared to the original text, I guess. It's a good word. He refreshes my soul. But guess what? Can you tell me one of your favorite Hebrew original word that represents refresh? Any guess? Rest. Hebrew words. Very famous Hebrew word. You know the shub, the word. Shub means a U-turn. When you go in the wrong direction and make a U-turn to your God, that's a shub. Shub means return, turn around, turn back, and the word restore. So English Standard Version, or I believe a King James Version, has the word restore instead of replenish. And He restores my soul, like this. He's only the one, because He created us and He can recreate our hearts. He can recreate. So go to your God. Don't focus on your own self, or don't focus on the wind in Peter's version. Don't focus on the problems you may encounter in Joseph's version, but just refocus on your God, like this. This gentleman, famous Korean philosopher, one of the famous philosophers, Professor Kim. How old do you think he is? 90? Good guess?
23.
23, young?
Just age, that's all.
Okay. He's going to turn 102 this year.
Wow.
And he was traveling from Seoul to Jeju Island, the southern part of Korea, by Korean Air, when he was in the ticket, the counter, and it took time. And he was asked, "How old are you?" Why he was being asked is because the computer system cannot calculate the 3-digit 101. So he turned just 1 year old back then.
I was close.
Yeah, you were close. 23 young. So he just recalculated everything, and okay, you're okay. Even if he says 1 year old and it's you, okay. This is a boarding pass like this. He was one of the weakest men in the world, because his mother wishes that oh, please, I want to see you enter middle school. Because so weak. And now he turned 102 this year. And this is a secret. He said, okay, so people ask, hey, what did you eat and what do you do? Da, 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 da. What's the secret of the longevity and so on? And this is what he said. Okay, I just want to be a person who gives some help to others. And that's simple. Oh, okay. So his mindset, okay, I'm just wanting to help others. And if people see me as a good helper and I'm more than enough, that attitude gives him kind of a long longevity like this. So when you have some mission, it's a good momentum. You can move on toward God's kingdom. How can the Elijah story? How did it go? How God restored him. This is what our God did. 1 Kings chapter 19 again, and verse 15 through 17. The Lord said to him, "Go back the way you came and go to the desert of Damascus. When you get there, anointed Hazael, king over Aram. Also anoint Jehu, son of Nimshi, king over Israel, and anoint Elisha, son of Shaphat, from Abel Maholah, to succeed you as prophet." You know, when Elijah thought, okay, my mission is done and I have nothing to do, then he was in big trouble. And God restored him and gave him a new mission. Go and do this way. So, conclusion. You know, it's okay when you are down. Sometimes you may feel that this depression, whatsoever you encounter, that's okay. But the thing is that you always go back to your God. He is the restorer of your life. And remember, Lamentation chapter 3 and verses 22 and 23. One day we may experience the same thing right here. Because of the Lord's great love, and we are not consumed, for His compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. When you see the beauty of our God, the trivial things, the small things, and we get suffered by, but it's just nothing. But when you give your hearts to your God, and He is going to remind you how faithful He has been. And there's still hope that even if Jeremiah witnessed the destruction of Jerusalem, the whole nation, but still the hope inside him will spring up, and His compassion never fail, because our God is very faithful God. My church family, how grateful we are, because we can taste our God every day and every morning. As long as we are in His side, He would never let us go, because we are all beloved, His sons and His daughters.